Women do not fall in love the way men are taught to believe they do. Most people are raised on comforting stories about attraction, loyalty, and unconditional commitment, and then spend years confused when reality refuses to follow the script. This audiobook is not an attack on women, and it is not a comfort piece for men. It is an examination of recurring patterns that quietly govern desire, choice, and attachment. When we say women want one thing, we are not talking about money, status, or validation in isolation. We are talking about alignment with what feels beneficial, safe, and meaningful in the moment. Understanding this truth does not make you bitter. It makes you clear. Chapter 1. The Illusion Men Are Taught. From an early age, men are taught a comforting lie about attraction. They're told that love grows through effort, loyalty, and consistency, that if they show enough care and patience, desire will naturally deepen over time. This belief feels noble and reasonable, which is why it is so dangerous. It teaches men to interpret attraction as a reward for good behavior rather than a response to perceived value. When reality contradicts this belief, confusion follows. A man gives more, listens more, sacrifices more, and yet attraction weakens instead of strengthens. He assumes something is wrong with him or that he simply has not tried hard enough. The truth is simpler and more uncomfortable. Attraction is not a moral judgment. It is not a gratitude system. It is a response to how someone makes another person feel in the present moment. Women are not responding to intentions or promises. They are responding to emotional signals, confidence, direction, and perceived strength. When those signals fade, attraction fades with them, regardless of history. This is why men are often blindsided. They believe love is cumulative, while attraction is immediate. They believe effort creates desire, while desire actually determines how effort is received. When attraction is present, small actions are magnified. When it is absent, grand gestures feel invisible or even irritating. This disconnect creates resentment on both sides. Men feel unappreciated and misled. Women feel pressured and misunderstood. Neither side is consciously trying to deceive the other. They are operating from different assumptions about how desire works. Women are rarely taught to articulate this because attraction feels intuitive rather than logical. Men are rarely taught to observe it because doing so would force them to abandon comforting fantasies. The illusion is not that women are shallow or calculating. The illusion is that attraction is something that can be earned through moral effort alone. Once this illusion breaks, patterns that once felt cruel begin to feel predictable. What appears as sudden loss of interest is usually a gradual shift in perception that went unnoticed. What feels like betrayal is often alignment changing rather than affection disappearing. This is the foundation that must be understood before anything else. Without it, every relationship becomes a mystery filled with false hope and unnecessary pain. One of the most damaging beliefs men carry into relationships is the idea that attraction functions like a contract. Show up consistently, treat her well, remain loyal, and desire will be secured over time. This belief turns love into a moral exchange and attraction into something owed. Reality does not operate this way. Attraction is not preserved by past effort. It is sustained by present perception. The moment attraction becomes dependent on what someone did yesterday rather than who they are today, it begins to decay. This is why many men experience a strange reversal. The more they invest, the less desired they feel. Their effort increases while their impact decreases. What they interpret as commitment is often experienced as pressure. What they believe is stability is often perceived as predictability. Attraction requires a sense of emotional movement. It responds to direction, decisiveness, and the feeling that the other person has a life that is moving forward with or without approval. When a man organizes his entire emotional world around maintaining a relationship, he unintentionally signals dependence. Dependence is not reassuring, it is heavy. Women do not consciously analyze this dynamic, they feel it. Desire responds to how someone shows up in the moment, not to how much they have sacrificed in the past. This is why attraction can disappear even when nothing obvious has gone wrong. No betrayal occurred, no major conflict happened. The relationship simply shifted from dynamic to static. The man began seeking validation instead of providing direction. He began asking for reassurance instead of creating emotional safety through certainty. Attraction quietly disengaged. This leads men to accuse women of being inconsistent or unfair. In truth, attraction was never promised permanence. It was always conditional on perception. This does not mean women are incapable of love or loyalty. It means love is experienced through attraction, not in place of it. When attraction fades, love becomes effort instead of desire, obligation instead of choice. The relationship enters a fragile state where resentment grows on both sides. Men feel used for their effort. Women feel guilty for no longer feeling what they once did. Neither is wrong. They are responding to a reality they were never taught to understand. The mistake is believing attraction can be negotiated, earned retroactively, or preserved through sacrifice alone. Attraction must be maintained in the present. It cannot be stored like credit. Once this is understood, relationships stop feeling unpredictable. They begin to follow patterns that can be observed, respected, and navigated without self-blame or bitterness. Chapter 2. Why emotional strength matters more than words. Attraction responds less to what is said and more to what is felt. Men are often taught to communicate their way into desire by explaining intentions, expressing emotions, and reassuring commitment. While communication matters for understanding, it does very little to create attraction on its own. What creates attraction is emotional strength, the sense that someone is grounded, self-directed, and unaffected by minor disruptions. Emotional strength is not emotional silence, it is emotional stability. It is the ability to experience pressure without collapsing, to face uncertainty without panic, and to remain centered without needing constant reassurance. Women are highly sensitive to this because emotional strength signals safety at a deep level. It suggests that a man can handle stress, conflict, and unpredictability without transferring his anxiety onto her. When emotional strength is present, words land with weight. When it is absent, words feel hollow, no matter how well-intentioned they are. This is why excessive explanation often backfires. Explaining is frequently driven by fear of losing connection rather than confidence in maintaining it. That fear is felt even when it is never spoken aloud. Emotional strength also shows up in how a man responds to change. When plans shift, moods fluctuate, or distance appears, a man rooted in emotional strength does not chase clarity or demand reassurance. He observes, he adjusts, he remains steady. This steadiness creates contrast. It separates him from desperation and uncertainty. Many men confuse emotional openness with emotional dependence. They believe vulnerability requires constant disclosure and reassurance seeking. In reality, vulnerability is the willingness to be seen without needing control over the outcome. Emotional dependence seeks certainty. Emotional strength accepts risk. Women are not drawn to perfection or emotional detachment. They are drawn to men whose internal state is not easily shaken by external events. This is why emotional volatility erodes attraction so quickly. A man who is calm only when everything goes well is not calm at all. He is conditional. Emotional strength communicates that connection is desired but not required for self-stability. This creates space rather than pressure. Space allows attraction to breathe. Pressure suffocates it. When a woman senses that a man's sense of worth rises and falls based on her reactions, attraction weakens even if affection remains. She feels responsible for his emotional state, and responsibility kills desire. Emotional strength removes that burden. It allows desire to exist without guilt. This is not manipulation, it is self-regulation, and self-regulation is one of the most consistently attractive traits across all relationship contexts.
Desire thrives in the presence of stability, because stability signals safety without demanding compliance. When a man is emotionally stable, he does not need constant affirmation to feel secure. He does not monitor every shift in tone or behavior as a threat. He does not interpret distance as rejection or disagreement as abandonment. This internal steadiness allows attraction to develop naturally because it removes pressure from the connection. Women do not want to be the source of a man's emotional regulation. They want to feel chosen, not needed for survival. Need introduces urgency. Urgency creates obligation. Obligation replaces desire with duty. This is where many relationships quietly deteriorate. A man may believe he is showing care by prioritizing the relationship above all else, but what is often felt is weight. When a man's happiness depends entirely on the relationship, the woman becomes responsible for maintaining his emotional balance. That responsibility is exhausting. Desire does not grow under responsibility, it retreats. Stability also shows up in how a man handles uncertainty. Attraction is strengthened when a man can tolerate not knowing without spiraling, when he can allow space without interpreting it as loss, when he can remain grounded even when outcomes are unclear. This tolerance signals confidence in self-direction. It communicates that his life has momentum beyond a relationship. Momentum is attractive because it implies purpose. A man with purpose invites companionship. A man without it seeks completion. Seeking completion places pressure on the other person to fill a void they did not create. Stability does not mean emotional distance. It means emotional self-sufficiency. A self-sufficient man can be warm without being clingy, attentive without being anxious, and invested without being dependent. This balance is what allows desire to persist over time. When stability is present, attraction feels effortless. When it is absent, every interaction feels like maintenance. Women often withdraw not because they stopped caring, but because the emotional cost became too high. They feel pulled into managing emotions rather than sharing experiences. The shift from shared enjoyment to emotional labor is subtle but decisive. Once a relationship crosses that threshold, attraction begins to erode. Understanding this changes how men approach connection. The goal is not to suppress emotion or perform indifference. The goal is to build a life that stands on its own, emotionally and practically. When a man's sense of self remains intact regardless of relationship outcomes, desire is free to exist without obligation. Stability removes fear, and where fear is absent, attraction has room to grow.
Chapter 3. The Reality of Conditional Desire. One of the most uncomfortable truths men struggle to accept is that attraction is conditional by nature. This does not mean it is fake, shallow, or dishonest. It means it responds to circumstances, perception, and emotional experience in real time. Men are often taught to believe that once attraction is established, it becomes stable and secure, protected by commitment, time, or shared history. This belief creates false expectations that lead to confusion and resentment. Desire does not operate on loyalty, it operates on feeling. When the feeling changes, desire changes with it. Women experience this shift internally, long before it becomes visible externally. By the time attraction appears to fade, it has often been weakening quietly for months. Men are shocked because they were tracking effort while attraction was tracking emotional experience. Conditional desire feels threatening because it undermines the fantasy of permanence. Men want to believe that love, once earned, is protected from erosion. But attraction is not stored. It is renewed or diminished continuously based on how someone shows up. When a man becomes complacent, emotionally unstable, directionless, or overly dependent, attraction does not decline out of malice. It declines because the emotional experience has changed. Women do not wake up deciding to lose attraction. They notice they feel different and then struggle to explain why. This is why explanations often sound vague or inconsistent. The change happened at a felt level, not a logical one. Conditional desire also explains why attraction can intensify suddenly. When a man regains emotional strength, clarity, or independence, attraction can return, even if the past was strained. This feels confusing to men who believe history should matter more than presence. In reality, presence always outweighs history in attraction. This does not mean women are incapable of commitment. It means commitment is filtered through attraction, not separate from it. When attraction is strong, commitment feels natural. When attraction weakens, commitment feels heavy. Men often try to solve this by increasing reassurance, effort, or sacrifice. This usually accelerates the problem because it addresses fear rather than attraction. Fear communicates instability. Stability restores desire. Conditional desire is not cruelty. It is honesty without words. Once men accept this, they stop chasing permanence and start focusing on maintaining the conditions that make attraction possible. This shift removes confusion and replaces it with clarity. Attraction stops feeling random. It starts feeling responsive.
The idea of unconditional love is emotionally comforting but practically misleading in romantic dynamics. It suggests that once affection exists, it should endure regardless of change, behavior, or circumstance. This belief creates expectations that attraction cannot realistically meet. Unconditional love may exist in parental bonds, but romantic attraction operates under different psychological rules. Attraction requires responsiveness. It responds to who someone is becoming, not who they once were. When men expect unconditional desire, they stop adapting. They assume presence replaces growth. Over time, this assumption erodes the very qualities that made attraction possible in the first place. Women are not withdrawing because they lack loyalty. They are responding to stagnation. Attraction thrives on movement. It requires a sense of forward momentum, emotional evolution, and personal direction. When a relationship becomes static, desire begins to feel trapped. This is where unconditional expectations become harmful. They discourage accountability. They imply that attraction should survive regardless of effort, awareness, or self-maintenance. In reality, attraction requires ongoing alignment. This does not mean constant performance. It means remaining engaged with life. Men often confuse unconditional love with emotional safety. They believe that removing risk will deepen connection. In practice, the opposite occurs. Removing risk removes tension. Removing tension removes desire. Emotional safety comes from trust and consistency, not from the absence of consequence. When a man believes attraction should persist, no matter how he shows up, he stops regulating himself. He becomes reactive, needy, or complacent. Women feel this shift immediately. Desire does not disappear because love was false. It disappears because attraction no longer feels alive. This is why appeals to history rarely work. Saying, "we have been together for years," does not restore attraction. It highlights the gap between what was and what is. Attraction does not negotiate with memory. It responds to present energy. Accepting this truth does not make relationships fragile. It makes them honest. It replaces entitlement with responsibility. When men understand that attraction is conditional, they stop demanding permanence and start maintaining presence. They stop using commitment as a shield against change. This creates healthier dynamics for both sides. Women no longer feel pressured to justify their feelings. Men no longer feel betrayed by natural shifts. Conditional desire is not the enemy of love. It is the structure that keeps love responsive rather than resentful. Once this is understood, relationships become less about fear of loss and more about mutual engagement with what is real now.
Chapter 4. Perception shapes desire more than intention. Attraction is shaped by perception, not by intention. And this distinction explains many of the misunderstandings between men and women. Men often focus on what they mean to do, how hard they try, and how much they care. Women respond to what they experience. Intention lives internally. Perception lives emotionally. When these two are misaligned, effort does not translate into attraction. A man can intend to be supportive and still be perceived as weak. He can intend to be loving and still be perceived as dependent. He can intend to be committed and still be perceived as stagnant. None of this makes his intentions bad. It means attraction does not reward effort in isolation. It responds to how that effort is felt. Perception is formed through patterns, not promises. It is shaped by consistency, emotional tone, and how someone carries themselves under pressure. Women observe how a man responds to stress, uncertainty, and challenge. These moments reveal more than any declaration of love. A man who remains composed under pressure is perceived as capable. A man who collapses emotionally is perceived as risky. This perception forms quickly and updates constantly. Men are often surprised by how fast attraction can shift because they assume perception changes slowly. In reality, perception updates in real time. A few key moments can outweigh months of effort. This is why trying harder often fails. Increased effort does not automatically improve perception. In some cases, it worsens it. When effort is driven by fear of loss, it communicates insecurity. Insecurity changes perception instantly. Women do not consciously judge this, they feel it. Attraction is sensitive to emotional undercurrents. It responds to confidence, calmness, and self-direction. A man who moves with certainty creates a sense of safety without asking for reassurance. A man who seeks reassurance communicates doubt about his own stability. Perception also explains why men feel misunderstood. They believe they are being evaluated unfairly. They think their intentions should count more. Attraction does not operate on fairness. It operates on felt experience. This is not cruelty. It is psychology. Once men understand this, they stop arguing for their intentions and start paying attention to how they are experienced. They stop trying to convince and start learning to observe. Perception is not fixed. It can improve or deteriorate depending on behavior, but it cannot be negotiated. Desire follows perception, whether it is acknowledged or not. Understanding this removes confusion and replaces it with responsibility.
Commitment is a decision. Perception is a response. This is why perception changes faster and with far less warning. Men often assume commitment stabilizes attraction, but commitment only stabilizes behavior. Desire remains responsive to perception regardless of promises or plans. A woman can be committed and still feel her attraction shifting. This internal conflict is confusing for both sides. Men see commitment as proof that attraction should remain intact. Women experience commitment as a choice that exists alongside fluctuating desire. When perception changes, attraction follows immediately. Commitment attempts to hold things in place, but it cannot override emotional experience. This creates tension. Women feel guilty for feelings they did not choose. Men feel betrayed by changes they did not see coming. Perception shifts quickly because it is based on ongoing signals. How a man handles stress, how he reacts to disagreement, how he speaks about his life, how he responds to uncertainty. These signals are constantly updating the emotional picture. A single moment of emotional collapse can outweigh weeks of stability because it introduces doubt. Doubt spreads faster than reassurance. Men often try to repair this by reminding women of commitment. They reference shared plans, sacrifices, and history. This appeals to logic rather than attraction. Logic rarely restores desire. Attraction does not respond to obligation. It responds to renewed perception of strength, direction, and emotional safety. This is why attempts to lock attraction through labels often fail. Labels create structure but do not generate feeling. When perception declines, labels feel restrictive rather than reassuring. Women may stay committed longer than attraction would naturally allow because they value responsibility and consistency. But this delay does not stop perception from shaping desire. It only postpones the inevitable outcome. Men misinterpret this delay as stability, which makes the eventual shift feel sudden. In reality, the change has been unfolding quietly. Understanding this prevents shock. It reframes loss of attraction as a signal rather than a betrayal. When perception improves, attraction can return just as quickly. This is why rebuilding self-stability and direction is more effective than pleading or explaining. Perception is responsive, not stubborn. It updates based on what is present now. Commitment may slow the consequences of perception change, but it cannot stop it. Once men understand this, they stop relying on promises to preserve desire and start focusing on how they show up moment to moment. Attraction does not need to be forced. It needs to be supported by consistent perception.
Chapter 5: Why Safety Alone is Not Enough. Many men believe that providing safety is the foundation of lasting attraction. They focus on reliability, consistency, and emotional reassurance,
assuming these qualities will naturally sustain desire. Safety matters, but it is not sufficient on its own. When safety becomes the only emotional tone in a relationship, attraction begins to flatten. Desire requires more than predictability. It requires polarity. Polarity is the tension created by difference, movement, and emotional contrast. Without it, relationships feel calm but dull. Women often struggle to explain this because safety feels good, while desire quietly fades. Men interpret this fading desire as ingratitude. In reality, the relationship has become emotionally static. Safety without excitement turns connection into routine. Routine feels secure, but lifeless. Attraction needs a sense of aliveness. This does not mean chaos or instability. It means presence, engagement, and emotional energy. A man who only offers reassurance becomes emotionally neutral. Neutrality does not provoke desire. Women feel safe, but not pulled. This is why relationships sometimes feel affectionate but sexless. The bond remains, while attraction weakens. Men respond by offering more safety, more reassurance, more consistency. This deepens the imbalance. The relationship becomes emotionally flat. Desire cannot grow where nothing changes. Safety should be the ground, not the ceiling. When men confuse safety with attraction, they stop challenging themselves and the relationship. They avoid tension, disagreement, and uncertainty in the name of peace. Peace without polarity feels empty. Women do not want drama, but they do want emotional contrast. They want to feel something move. Attraction responds to a man who has opinions, direction, and a life that creates momentum. When everything is predictable, desire has nothing to respond to. This is why excitement often appears outside long-term relationships. It is not because safety is unattractive. It is because novelty restores polarity. Men often resent this dynamic because they associate excitement with irresponsibility. They believe safety should be rewarded with desire. Attraction does not operate on reward systems. It operates on emotional experience. Safety reduces fear. Polarity creates desire. Both are required. When a man provides safety while maintaining independence, purpose, and emotional presence, attraction can persist. When safety becomes passive accommodation, attraction fades. Understanding this distinction prevents men from overcorrecting in the wrong direction. The goal is not to remove safety. The goal is to pair safety with emotional vitality, so desire has something to respond to.
Comfort feels like success because it removes friction, but friction is not the enemy of attraction. Emotional flatness is. When a relationship becomes entirely comfortable, it often means both people know exactly what to expect. Predictability creates ease, but it also removes anticipation. Desire feeds on anticipation. Without it, attraction has no forward pull. Men often confuse keeping the peace with maintaining connection. They avoid disagreement, suppress opinions, and soften their presence to prevent conflict. Over time, this erodes polarity. The relationship becomes emotionally symmetrical. No one is leading, no one is creating movement. Women feel this loss before they can name it. They feel less drawn, less curious, less engaged. Men respond by increasing comfort. They try to be more agreeable, more available, more accommodating. This feels logical, but produces the opposite effect.
Attraction does not grow from accommodation, it grows from presence and contrast. Polarity is not dominance or control, it is the presence of direction. A man with direction creates emotional shape. His opinions, boundaries, and priorities introduce movement into the relationship. When these disappear, the relationship feels flat. Comfort without polarity also changes how effort is perceived. Effort becomes maintenance rather than expression. Gestures feel routine rather than intentional. Affection feels expected rather than chosen. This drains desire of its emotional charge. Women do not lose attraction because they dislike comfort. They lose attraction because comfort became the entire emotional landscape. Desire needs something to lean toward. It needs a sense of forward motion. This is why men who remain engaged with their own growth often sustain attraction more easily. Growth introduces change. Change creates contrast. Contrast creates polarity. When a man continues to pursue goals, challenge himself, and refine his direction, he brings energy into the relationship without trying to manufacture excitement. His life creates it naturally. Comfort then becomes grounding rather than numbing. Polarity does not require conflict, it requires differentiation. Two people who are fully merged cannot generate tension. Two people who remain distinct can. When men understand this, they stop trying to preserve attraction by freezing the relationship in comfort. They allow movement. They allow disagreement. They allow space. This does not weaken connection, it revitalizes it. Comfort becomes a place to return to rather than a place to disappear into. When comfort and polarity coexist, attraction has both safety and spark. Without polarity, comfort slowly suffocates desire, even when love remains.
Chapter 6. Independence is the root of attraction. Attraction weakens when independence disappears because independence signals wholeness. Men are often taught that merging lives completely is the highest form of commitment. They believe closeness requires constant availability, shared routines, and emotional fusion. While closeness matters, total fusion removes the very separation attraction needs to exist. Desire requires two complete individuals choosing connection, not two halves clinging for stability. Independence creates emotional gravity. It shows that a man's life has structure, momentum, and meaning beyond the relationship. When that independence erodes, attraction follows. A man who abandons his interests, friendships, and ambitions to prioritize a relationship communicates that his sense of self is negotiable. This does not feel romantic, it feels unstable. Women do not want to be the center of a man's world. They want to be invited into it. Invitation implies choice. Dependence implies necessity. Necessity creates pressure. Pressure dissolves desire. Independence also regulates emotional balance. A man with a full life does not look to the relationship to meet every emotional need. He brings energy rather than extracting it. He enjoys connection without clinging to it. This balance allows attraction to breathe. Men often misunderstand this and believe independence signals detachment. In reality, independence allows deeper connection because it removes desperation. A man who can walk away emotionally is a man who can stay without fear. Women feel this security intuitively. Independence also preserves mystery. When every thought, feeling, and movement is shared, curiosity disappears. Attraction thrives on curiosity.
It needs space to wonder. Independence creates that space naturally. This does not mean secrecy or emotional withholding. It means maintaining a life that does not collapse if the relationship changes. When men lose independence, they often become reactive. Their mood rises and falls with the relationship. This volatility is felt immediately. Women sense when they are carrying someone's emotional weight. That burden erodes attraction quickly. Independence removes that burden. It allows desire to exist without obligation. This is why men who regain independence often see attraction return unexpectedly. Nothing about the woman changed, the emotional dynamic did. Independence restored polarity, stability, and presence. Attraction responded accordingly. Independence is not a strategy, it is a foundation. Without it, every attempt to maintain desire feels forced. With it, attraction becomes a natural response rather than something to chase.
When a relationship becomes the primary source of identity, attraction begins to erode even if affection remains. Men often mistake emotional closeness for emotional fusion. They believe that sharing everything, doing everything together, and aligning every decision strengthens connection. In reality, this level of merging removes tension and distinction. Without distinction, desire has nothing to respond to. Two people who move as one entity cannot generate attraction because attraction requires separation. When a man structures his life entirely around the relationship, he loses the edge that made him interesting. His time becomes endlessly available. His priorities become reactive. His decisions begin to orbit approval rather than direction. This shift is subtle but decisive. Women feel it as a loss of polarity. The man who once chose connection now depends on it. Dependence introduces emotional weight. Desire retreats under weight. Merging too completely also creates unspoken expectations. When lives are fully intertwined, every decision feels consequential. Space feels like rejection. Independence feels like threat. This dynamic makes relationships fragile rather than secure. Men respond by clinging tighter, which accelerates the collapse. Attraction cannot survive under surveillance. It needs room to move. Women are often blamed for pulling away when what they are really doing is reclaiming space to breathe. This is not cruelty, it is self-preservation. When a man maintains his own rhythm, goals, and interests, he brings freshness into the relationship. When he abandons them, the relationship becomes repetitive and heavy. Merging also distorts effort. Everything a man does feels expected rather than chosen. Gestures lose impact because they are no longer optional. Desire responds to choice. Obligation dulls it. This is why independence actually creates safety. A man who can stand on his own is not threatened by space. He does not panic when plans change. He does not interpret autonomy as abandonment. This calm response restores attraction because it removes pressure. Women feel free rather than managed. Freedom is essential for desire. When men understand this, they stop equating closeness with fusion. They allow space without withdrawing affection. They remain present without becoming dependent. This balance preserves individuality while supporting connection. Attraction thrives in this environment because it is invited rather than demanded.
Chapter 7. Boundaries are more attractive than approval. Many men believe that being agreeable makes them more attractive. They prioritize harmony, avoid conflict, and soften their boundaries in order to be liked.
This approach often produces the opposite result. Approval-seeking communicates uncertainty about one's own value. Attraction responds to self-respect, not self-erasure. Boundaries signal clarity. They show that a man knows what he accepts and what he does not. This creates emotional safety because it establishes predictability. Women do not feel secure around men who tolerate everything. They feel uncertain because tolerance without standards suggests weakness rather than kindness. Boundaries also create contrast. A man who says no when something violates his values distinguishes himself from men who accommodate everything. This distinction creates polarity. Polarity feeds attraction. When men remove boundaries to preserve connection, they unintentionally teach others how to treat them. What is tolerated becomes normalized. Women may not consciously intend to test boundaries, but boundaries are tested naturally in all relationships. When there are no consequences, respect erodes. This does not mean women want to be controlled. It means they respond to men who are grounded enough to protect their own standards. A man with boundaries is not rigid or aggressive. He is consistent. Consistency builds trust. Trust allows attraction to exist without fear. Approval-seeking creates instability because it changes based on reaction. Boundaries create stability because they are internally defined. When a man prioritizes approval, his behavior becomes reactive. He adjusts himself to maintain acceptance. This makes him predictable in a way that drains polarity. Women sense when a man is shaping himself to please rather than expressing himself authentically. Authenticity is attractive because it is grounded. Boundaries protect authenticity. They prevent resentment from building silently. Men who avoid conflict often store frustration internally until it leaks out through passive behavior. Women feel this dissonance and pull away. Boundaries allow directness. Directness reduces confusion. When a man calmly enforces his standards, attraction increases because he appears centered and self-assured. Approval feels good temporarily. Boundaries create lasting respect. Attraction follows respect more reliably than it follows agreement.
Every relationship is shaped by what is tolerated, not by what is requested. Men often believe that expressing displeasure or setting limits will push people away, so they endure behavior that quietly undermines respect. Over time, this tolerance becomes the unspoken rule of the relationship. When poor treatment carries no consequence, it becomes normal. Women do not lose attraction because a man is kind. They lose attraction because kindness without self-respect feels unstable. Tolerance without boundaries communicates that a man's needs are negotiable. Attraction responds to strength, and strength includes the willingness to walk away from what diminishes you. When a man repeatedly accepts behavior that violates his standards, he sends a message that access to him is guaranteed regardless of treatment. Guaranteed access removes urgency. Without urgency, desire fades. This does not require cruelty or confrontation. It requires consistency. Boundaries only work when they are enforced. Stated boundaries without follow-through train people to ignore words and watch behavior instead. Women are especially attuned to this. They observe whether actions match standards. When they do not, attraction weakens because trust erodes. Tolerance also creates internal conflict. Men who suppress their boundaries often feel resentment but continue to act agreeable.
This mismatch is felt emotionally. Women sense the tension even when it is unspoken. Attraction cannot thrive in environments of silent frustration. Clear boundaries remove this tension. They allow both people to relax because expectations are known. Enforcing boundaries does not mean threatening or controlling. It means choosing self-respect over approval. When a man calmly withdraws time, attention, or access in response to repeated disrespect, the dynamic shifts immediately. Either behavior improves or the relationship ends. Both outcomes protect attraction. What destroys attraction is endless tolerance paired with unspoken anger. Women do not respect men who endure everything, because endurance without choice looks like weakness. Choice restores power. Power creates polarity. Polarity sustains desire. Men who learn this stop trying to earn attraction through patience. They allow attraction to respond naturally to standards. Respect follows consistency. Attraction follows respect. When tolerance ends, clarity begins.
Chapter 8. Why Nice Men Feel Invisible. Many men grow up believing that being nice is the safest path to love. They learn to be agreeable, accommodating, and emotionally available in the hope that kindness will naturally produce attraction. When it does not, they feel confused and overlooked. The problem is not kindness. The problem is niceness without strength. Nice behavior often comes from fear of disapproval rather than genuine generosity. When kindness is driven by fear, it communicates insecurity. Attraction does not respond to insecurity. It responds to grounded presence. Nice men often avoid expressing desire, opinions, or boundaries because they do not want to risk rejection. This avoidance removes polarity. Without polarity, attraction has no tension to feed on. Women may appreciate the kindness but feel no pull toward it. Appreciation is not desire. Nice men also tend to overinvest early. They give time, attention, and emotional energy before attraction has been established. This creates imbalance. Imbalance creates discomfort. Women feel pressure rather than excitement. When a man gives too much too soon, his actions feel transactional, even if his intentions are sincere. Niceness becomes currency rather than expression. Attraction resists being bought. Nice men often suppress parts of themselves they believe might be unattractive. They hide ambition, assertiveness, or sexual intent in order to appear safe. This makes them emotionally neutral. Neutrality does not inspire desire. Women sense when a man is editing himself for approval. This makes him feel less real. Authenticity is not perfection. It is congruence between internal state and external behavior. Nice men often lack this congruence. They say yes while feeling no. They smile while feeling resentment. This internal split leaks through. Attraction fades because trust in emotional honesty weakens. Being nice without self-respect creates invisibility. Women do not reject nice men because they are cruel. They disengage because niceness alone does not create emotional charge. Attraction requires presence, direction, and confidence. Kindness enhances attraction when it is paired with these qualities. Without them, it becomes background noise. Nice men are not flawed, they are misdirected. When they learn to value self-respect over approval, kindness stops being a strategy and becomes a choice. At that point, attraction has something real to respond to. Kindness creates attraction only when it comes from abundance rather than fear. When a man is kind because he chooses to be, it signals confidence and emotional security. When he is kind because he is afraid to lose approval, it signals dependence. Women feel this difference immediately. Kindness rooted in fear carries an unspoken request for validation. That request creates pressure. Pressure weakens desire. This is why many nice men feel they are doing everything right while attraction continues to fade. They are offering comfort while silently asking for reassurance in return. This turns kindness into a transaction. Attraction does not thrive under transactional energy. Self-abandonment often hides beneath excessive niceness. Men ignore their own needs, suppress disagreement, and tolerate behavior that makes them uncomfortable in order to maintain connection. Over time, this creates resentment. Resentment leaks out through passive behavior, emotional withdrawal, or sudden outbursts. Women sense this instability and pull back. Attraction cannot coexist with suppressed anger. Strength does not mean dominance or aggression. It means self-alignment. A strong man can be kind without losing himself. He can give without keeping score. He can say no without guilt. This balance restores polarity. Women are drawn to men who are generous by choice rather than obligation. When kindness is paired with boundaries, it feels safe and grounded. When it is paired with self-abandonment, it feels unstable. Nice men often fear that expressing desire or asserting standards will make them unlikable. In reality, it makes them real. Reality creates attraction. A man who stands for something invites respect. Respect supports desire. When men stop using niceness as protection and start using honesty as direction, attraction shifts. Women no longer feel responsible for managing his emotions. They feel free to respond authentically. Kindness becomes an asset instead of a liability. Strength gives kindness weight. Without strength, kindness collapses into invisibility.
Chapter 9. Why direction is more attractive than agreement. Attraction responds to direction more than agreement because direction signals confidence and inner structure. Men are often taught to prioritize harmony by aligning their opinions, preferences, and decisions with those of the woman they are with. While agreement feels cooperative, excessive alignment removes leadership from the dynamic. Leadership in this context does not mean control. It means having a clear sense of where you are going and moving toward it regardless of external validation. Women are drawn to men who possess direction because direction creates emotional safety. It communicates that someone can navigate uncertainty without becoming reactive or dependent. Agreement without direction feels passive. Passive energy does not inspire desire. When a man consistently defers, asks for permission, or adjusts himself to avoid disagreement, he communicates uncertainty about his own judgment. Women feel this uncertainty and lose trust in his ability to lead emotionally. Direction also creates momentum. A man with purpose brings movement into the relationship. His decisions create shape and flow rather than stagnation. This does not require dominance or inflexibility. It requires decisiveness. A decisive man listens, considers, and then chooses. That choice relieves emotional labor because someone is holding the frame.
Many men misunderstand this and believe that leading means being stubborn. In reality, leadership is calm clarity. It is the ability to say, "This is what I am doing," and invite others to join, rather than asking for constant approval. When men replace direction with agreement, attraction weakens because the dynamic loses polarity. Polarity requires difference. Difference requires conviction. Women do not need a man to agree with them. They need him to be grounded enough to stand beside them without dissolving into them. Direction also signals self-trust. A man who trusts his own judgment appears stable. Stability allows desire to relax rather than monitor. When a man is always seeking consensus, he transfers responsibility for decisions onto the woman. This creates pressure rather than partnership. Attraction retreats under pressure. Direction removes that weight. It creates space for desire to respond freely. When men understand this, they stop trying to win attraction through compliance. They allow attraction to form around clarity, purpose, and movement.
Decisiveness is attractive because it reduces uncertainty. Emotional safety does not come from constant reassurance. It comes from knowing that someone can make decisions and stand by them. Men often underestimate how draining indecision can be. When every choice is debated, postponed, or handed off, the emotional burden shifts. Women feel responsible for outcomes they did not ask to manage. This responsibility dulls attraction because desire does not flourish in managerial roles. A decisive man does not need to be right all the time. He needs to be willing to choose and adapt. Adaptability preserves trust. Indecision erodes it. Emotional safety emerges when a woman feels she can relax into the presence of someone who has direction. This does not mean she loses agency. It means she is not required to carry the emotional weight of every decision. Many men mistake decisiveness for rigidity. They fear that choosing will make them appear controlling. In reality, clarity is calming. A man who can say, "This is what I think and this is what I am doing," creates a stable frame. Within that frame, discussion feels optional rather than necessary. Attraction responds to this stability because it removes tension around outcomes. Decisiveness also signals self-trust. A man who trusts himself is not easily shaken by disagreement. He does not collapse when challenged. He listens without surrendering his core. This balance is deeply attractive because it suggests emotional resilience. Women feel safer expressing themselves around men who are not threatened by differing views. Indecision often masks fear of being disliked. Decisiveness reveals confidence in one's own worth. That confidence creates polarity. Polarity sustains desire. When men avoid choosing, they believe they are preserving harmony. Instead, they create uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds anxiety. Anxiety suffocates attraction. Decisiveness clears emotional space. It allows connection to feel grounded rather than tentative. When men understand this, they stop trying to secure attraction through agreement. They secure it through clarity. Emotional safety is not created by pleasing. It is created by presence, direction, and the willingness to choose without apology.
Chapter 10. Letting go of fantasy without resentment. Many men carry quiet resentment because reality did not match the story they were taught. They believed effort guaranteed loyalty, kindness guaranteed desire, and time guaranteed permanence. When these expectations fail, bitterness feels justified. But bitterness is not clarity. It is grief mixed with confusion. Letting go of fantasy does not require anger. It requires honesty. The fantasy was never maliciously given. It was inherited. Society prefers comforting stories over accurate ones. When men release these stories, they often feel loss before relief. Loss of innocence, loss of certainty, loss of the idea that love is something that can be secured once and then protected forever. This loss is necessary. It clears the ground for understanding. Reality is not colder than fantasy. It is simply less indulgent. Attraction does not punish men for believing myths. It ignores them. When men stop demanding that women behave according to stories, resentment dissolves. Women are no longer seen as unpredictable or unfair. They are seen as responsive to conditions that were always present. Letting go of fantasy means accepting that desire is alive, not owed. Alive things require attention. They change, they respond. This acceptance removes the sense of betrayal that poisons many relationships. Men stop taking shifts in attraction personally. They stop interpreting change as failure. Change becomes information rather than judgment. This mindset creates emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is attractive because it does not cling to entitlement. It responds to reality with curiosity rather than complaint. Resentment fades when expectations align with truth. When men understand that attraction follows presence, stability, and direction, they stop blaming others for natural outcomes. They take responsibility for what they control. This responsibility is not heavy, it is freeing. It returns power to where it belongs. Letting go of fantasy does not make relationships transactional or cold. It makes them honest. Honesty creates respect. Respect supports attraction. Without resentment, connection becomes lighter. Men who release fantasy stop fighting reality. They move with it. And when they do, relationships become clearer, calmer, and more sustainable.
When fantasy is released, what remains is choice. Choice is the foundation of healthy relationships. A relationship built on choice is not held together by obligation, fear, or entitlement. It is maintained because both people continue to find value in the connection. This does not make love fragile, it makes it honest. Men often fear that acknowledging conditional attraction will make relationships unstable. In reality, it removes false security and replaces it with awareness. Awareness allows adjustment. Adjustment sustains connection. Relationships fail most often when people assume nothing needs to change. Reality requires engagement. Building relationships on reality means accepting that desire responds to how someone shows up now. It means maintaining emotional stability, independence, boundaries, and direction, not as tactics, but as expressions of self-respect. When these qualities are present, attraction does not need to be chased. It emerges naturally. Choice also restores dignity. A woman who stays because she wants to is different from a woman who stays because she feels trapped by expectation. Desire cannot exist in captivity. Men who understand this stop trying to secure commitment at the expense of attraction. They allow attraction to guide commitment instead. This creates balance. Choice also removes fear of loss. When a man knows he can stand on his own, loss becomes survivable rather than catastrophic. This internal security is felt. It changes how he moves in relationships. He becomes less reactive and more present. Presence deepens connection. Relationships built on reality are not dramatic. They are calm, clear, and responsive. They do not rely on promises about the future to justify dissatisfaction in the present. They ask a simple question repeatedly: does this connection still serve both of us? When the answer is yes, the relationship grows. When the answer is no, separation is honest rather than bitter. This does not diminish love, it preserves respect. Respect allows people to part without resentment and stay without fear. When men build relationships on reality and choice, they stop feeling powerless. They stop blaming nature for behaving naturally. They work with reality instead of against it. This is not pessimism, it is clarity. And clarity is the most stable foundation a relationship can have.
Understanding women's nature is not about winning, controlling, or protecting yourself from disappointment. It is about seeing clearly. When you stop expecting attraction to behave like a moral reward system, confusion dissolves. What remains is responsibility. Responsibility for your emotional stability, your direction, your boundaries, and your independence. This knowledge does not make relationships fragile. It removes false expectations that quietly destroy them. When you accept that desire is responsive rather than guaranteed, you stop demanding permanence and start embodying presence. You become someone who is chosen rather than relied upon. This shift changes how you experience connection. You no longer chase reassurance or fear change. You respond calmly. You observe patterns instead of reacting to them. Women sense this clarity immediately because it removes pressure. Pressure is the enemy of desire. Clarity is its ally. The truth is not that women only want one thing. It is that attraction follows alignment with what feels emotionally safe, alive, and meaningful in the moment. That alignment begins within you. When you build a life that stands on its own, relationships stop feeling like negotiations and start feeling like invitations. Some connections will end, others will deepen. Both outcomes are honest. This understanding does not harden you, it steadies you. And from steadiness comes confidence. From confidence comes presence. And from presence comes attraction that does not need to be forced. This is not a promise of control, it is an invitation to reality.